If you want to see me do another tag, the Superlative Eyeshadow Edition tag, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène with another video, and I am doing the Superlative makeup tag today. I think it's so neat because it is a very different kind of tag, and even more special is that Drea CN and another YouTuber, I'll put both their names right here, they decided to do a collab by using the Superlative makeup tag, but for eyeshadow palettes. And when I saw that video this morning, I was going, oh yeah, oh yes, I will be doing this tag. And lo and behold, I'm doing it the same morning as I found out about the tag. So I'm obviously very excited about it. I have all of my eyeshadow palettes ready to go to show you, and it's only 10 categories, so it's gonna go pretty quick. So if you're ready for a fun, light video and you love eyeshadow palettes, I think it's a match made in heaven. So let's get right into it. Like I said, 10 palettes total, so it's going to be very quick. So first one is, and this is like describing people in high school. So the category, most likely to, or most likely to be something. And it's something that at least it's popular in the US, and it's somewhat popular in Canada as well to do that. I don't know about all other places in the world, but hopefully you can relate to these types of categories. So the first one is best smile. And for me, the best smile is based on a palette that makes me smile and that is fun to look at. And it will be, for me, the Ciate Glitter Storm. Every time I look at this palette, it makes me smile, and it's very amusing, and it's pretty. So it's pretty to look at. That makes me smile. It's fun to play with. That makes me smile, and I like, although it's a little bit hard to open. Here we go. It's also very nice when it comes to the inside. Now, the only thing that I have as that poo-poos this palette is that I just recently heard of a few people. I don't know if it's a few or a lot, I've only heard a few, that the packaging has been problematic, and I pushed on this today just to look at it, and yeah, it is kind of flimsy. The base of it's kind of flimsy, and I've always said it was a really strong packaging choice, and that I was really happy that the new collection, the Jessica Rabbit collection, was with the same packaging, because I find that this top part is really amazing, but I can see how people might be having trouble with the bottom. Regardless, this one, it works in my collection. I'm really happy to have it. I like the shadows. They perform really well. I love the packaging for sure, and I'll probably keep it well beyond its useful life just because of the packaging. And so yes, it has, in my opinion, the best smile. The next one is most likely to succeed, and for that I chose a brand, but I decided to take one palette that really kind of speaks for the brand, because Dolly, and this is Dolly's Wild Side as a palette, is iconic for Buxom. There's the Dolly blush, and there's the Dolly lipstick, and there's the Dolly gloss, and there's Dolly all over the place. And Buxom shadows are fantastic. They're expensive, but they're really good. And if you can buy them in palette format like this, a palette like this is $50 Canadian, but each one of these is $15. So if you can buy in a palette and just supplement with singles here and there, like as you want, I think they're very good. And our tastes change over time. What I really like about these palettes is that the tray comes apart. So it's like singles and a palette all put in together. And I really, really appreciate these. And they repress well, because I've dropped one of these before, and I was able to repress it, and I was impressed that only one shadow was busted. So these palettes can survive, the shadows anyway can survive a drop not too badly. And it's a lot of product per pan when you do buy these. So if you tend to go over and over to the same shadows, you may very well enjoy Buxom. There's May Contain Nudity, there's Dolly's Wild Side, and there's also Suede Seduction. I highly recommend all three of them. I think they're fantastic, and I have, for travel, swapped out some colors to just bring one of these and have 6 solid shades to bring with. Really enjoy the packaging, really enjoy the way the shadows are set up, and the quality, like I said, of the shadows is really, really good. So to me, in my collection at least, it is most likely to succeed. They just don't disappoint. For life of the party, I think of someone who's like a little extra fun, but a little extra, a little edgy. You kind of like to have them around because they make you think of things differently and experience life a little bit differently than if these folks were not in your life. So for me, life of the party, and it's a bit of a love-hate relationship, but I'm going to say NARS. And I'm going to say Hot Tryst, and really Hot Tryst and Provocateur. So I brought this one out because it's out of the two, it's the edgier one of the two. And it was from the Christmas collection. And I know it's not an eyeshadow one, but it's in the same collection. And the shadows themselves are also, not shadows, but the blushes and highlighters themselves are just beautiful. And like I said, the two palettes have that same kind of design. And to put this together in a palette, I thought it was unique, different, something that I hadn't seen before in a palette. And I was really, I have to admit, I bought it for the packaging and I bought it for the way the powders were pressed, but I'm really happy as well with the way they're performing. So I have no regrets about having it, and it does make me smile and it makes me think of going out at night just based on the packaging. So I really, really like it. This next one fits under the most changed since freshman year. And don't ask me what freshman means. I'm not an American, but I figure it's most changed since grade 9-ish. At least for me, that was a big change. 7, 8, 9. When you got to grade 9, you were serious. You were in high school. And it's this one. And I keep it in the box because I can't stand the packaging. And this is what the packaging looks like. The fact that it's round drives me crazy when it comes to putting it into my palette storage. I just don't like round when everything else is square. That's just my issue. But what I discovered when I used it, and I did a whole focus on it, and I'll put it right here, is that for holding the pan, or the palette, look at this. It fits perfectly in my hand, and I have small hands. I'm only 5'2", and nothing ever fits in my hand. Things fall out. I smash things way more than I like to admit. And so this one did not disappoint when it comes to using it, especially using it on camera. So for me, it's most changed since freshman year, even though I've only had it for 6 months, because in my mind, it is so much better than I thought. I wanted to buy this thing and depot the shadows so fast. And now I still really dislike the fact that it's round, except when I'm holding it. And for that reason, it might even be a travel palette for me. And also the shadows are some of my favorites from Urban Decay, and that really surprised me. I heard some good things about this palette, but I thought, how good could it be? And it was my consolation prize for not getting the Born to Run because it came on half off. And so it ended up being a very good value for me, although I have to say, if I get the Born to Run for a good price after my no-buy, I'm probably going to jump on it. I'm just biding my time. I would like to be able to nab it at a good price. It gets so many good reviews, and I am a fan of Urban Decay. But for now, this one is definitely the most improved since freshman year. But it's still going back in its box. It has to. I can't. Next up, I have Most Unique. And I think this brand does unique really well. And it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture. I love this palette. I really do. And I love this palette because I find it very inspiring. Actually, this palette and another one you'll see in a little bit are palettes that really inspire me. The quality of the mattes is absolutely superior in my opinion, and so many palettes, so many companies have released palettes that dupe this one, and that is one of the realities for Anastasia. The modern Renaissance was fantastic. The sultry, I think, is another one that was very impactful. And the subculture is no different. They do color combinations that are just not the norm. And I'm very impressed with the formula of their mattes. They are the subculture mattes, because it's the only Anastasia palette that I have. Just every time I use this palette, I think, why don't I use it more? If I could only have 5 palettes, this one would absolutely be in my top 5. It comes to mind when I think of my collection. It comes to mind immediately. They're just beautiful. For cutest couple, there's only one that came to mind, and it is, unfortunately, it's a set of palettes that is not available anymore, and it's the Estee Edit, and it's 2 palettes that could come together. It's magnetized, and one of them is the Gritty Eye Palette and the Glow Face and Eye Palette. I'm partial to the black palette because it's edgy eye colors. They're all beautiful. Every time I use this palette, I think it's the look that I come up with is beautiful, and I like the size as well. It's just right. The pans are weird. I mean, no question, the shape of the pans is weird, but the palette itself is compact enough, and they go together very well. So for having them around and put somewhere, you don't tend to separate them. So in my opinion. And then this one is a face palette, but I also use it a lot on the eyes. So as a matter of fact, I consider it first off an eye palette and only secondarily a face palette. They're all good shadows, powders, and again, I love this. They just go together. It's, you know, they go together like an Oreo cookie, the cookie and the filling, you know, they just go together. And this one was absolutely part of my top 10 favorite palettes because it never fails. And this one I put in the category of perfect attendance. It is the perfect palette. When I'm going to travel or I need a really quick look, this is the palette that I think of automatically, because there aren't a tremendous amount of selections. There are 3 mattes right here and 3 shimmers, and they're beautiful. And this is the palette that convinced me that I want the Tartiste Pro or Tartiste Pro from Tarte. This is the mini Pro to go. Makes sense, right? Because I love the quality of these shadows, and if I can get the Tartiste Pro to go for half off, I will definitely be buying it. And I actually just missed it in the last sale. It went on for half, but it was already out of stock. So that's too bad, and you know, I'm supposed to be on a no-buy. But that's one of the palettes on my short list that if it went on for half off, I would want to jump on it. But the reason this one is so great, though, is the number of shadows is minimal, and they all go together. So no matter what combination you use, it will turn out to be a beautiful look. And the Tarte matte shadows make me think a lot of the Anastasia shadows and vice versa. I love these powdery shadows that blend beautifully, and it's the same thing for both of those. So yes, top 10 in my favorite eyeshadows and perfect attendance for sure. Every single eye look I do with this palette is just beautiful. And finally, last but definitely not least, is Best Dressed. Now you would have thought maybe that the NARS Hot Tryst, that metallic spiky cover, would have been in this category, but oh no, oh no. I am in love with this palette, and so many people hate it. I just think that the design of it is so avant-garde, so unique. I can't not love it. And it is the Urban Decay Heavy Metals palette. I think it's gorgeous. And it goes in like this. And if you're frustrated with it, the wrinkly side is the side you push. You bring it out, and it's always the really bright colors that goes in first. And it snaps back in. I love the plastic metal look of the palette, and then it's beautiful aesthetically. It's not as useful as a palette itself, but every time I look at it and every time I play with it, sometimes even just for inspiration, it makes me smile. And this is what the palette looks like. So a brighter side and a more metallic gold side. I like everything about this palette. It's, like I said, sometimes I just open it up for inspiration. It's not even for me to use, but I really, really love this palette. I can't say enough good about it. And I always make sure that it's like this in my palette holder here, because I want to see this ripple effect. Yeah, I love the palette. What can I say? And they didn't even put a sticker on the back. It's just pristine. It looks so great, and I'm pretty sure that I will keep this packaging even when I can't use the shadows in it. It's just gorgeous. And there's a reason I call it best dressed, right? It's just by far, in my opinion, the best packaging. And it makes me laugh that it's so divisive, because it seems like you either love it or you hate it. And I'm definitely on the side of I love the design of that palette. And Urban Decay, I can see the love-hate relationship, right? Because when I talked about Most Improved, it was the Elements palette, how I hate the round packaging. They just try different things every release, and I so appreciate that about them. I appreciate the fact that they try different things. And as much as consistency of design can be really good, and they do that for the Naked line, I like the fact that they try something different, because putting on your makeup is not just putting colored powder on your face, it's also about the experience and what we do for ourselves to feel good and start off our day in a nice way. And the aesthetics of packaging is part of that. And I appreciate the fact that Urban Decay does fun and interesting things. I have talked long enough. I would love to hear your answers to the superlative questions. So I'll have the categories in the description box. Please let me know if you have some answers, or if you're questioning some of the answers I provided. It's nice to have a little dialogue after the video is posted. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.